All right, so moving on to the NFC North, we'll go. Aaron Rodgers is back, so we all know who owns that division.
Yeah, the Packers are going to win this division. And it should be by a long shot, but it's not going to be.
No. Is. Yeah, and plus Minnesota. I think Minnesota is. I don't think that was a fluke season. I think they're a pretty good team.
Minnesota is not going to be a good team this year. Tell you why?
Okay.
Because we have the coach.
Oh yeah, right. And plus they just changed quarterbacks. Like, who's to say Kirk Cousins? I don't think Kirk Cousins was that good anyway. Like, people were saying, like, you know, that he's better than, like just like everybody was talking about how good Sam Bradford is. I'm like, I'm still have yet to see that Sam Bradford is that good. I mean, I know he gets hurt a lot, but I'm not even talking about that. Even when he plays, I'm not seeing anything that's everybody's talking about how good he is. I'm not seeing that.
If Kirk Cousins in the same category that they put, they used to put, what's his name, Jay Cutler in. You want to know why? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's in the same category as far as people keep on saying, "Oh, wait till this happens, wait till that happens." Mm-hmm. Well, we don't really see what type of quarterback. Like, Jay Cutler had that for his entire career, to where everyone kept on saying how good he could be. Yeah. But he never really did it, ever. He didn't care.
And that was right up until the end when Miami gave him a $10 million deal last year when Tannehill got hurt. I'm like, just take your fucking season, because he's not gonna do anything. He's not gonna do anything for you. like y'all really just gave away $10 million. Like, y'all just gave away $10 million, because that was a doom season. I should have just said, all right, well, we're fucked. You know what I mean? And just get a good draft pick. But no, y'all gonna try to salvage the season and just give away $10 million to the who I always, even when he was with Denver, even earlier in Chicago, whatever, I never was impressed by Jay Cutler. They was talking about he had a rocket arm. All right, fine, but I never saw anything that said that he was a good quarterback.
When he quit on his team, when they were playing the Packers in the playoffs, and he just didn't want to come on the field again.
Yeah.
He was fine. There was nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
He didn't want to come on the field again. I was like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't do that shit in a playoff game, ever.
Yeah.
You go out there, you fucking play.
I always thought he sucked, and that just confirmed it.
But as far as the NFC North goes, you think the Bears are going to suck? I second that emotion.
Yeah. And it's not because that their roster is so terrible. It's just that the NFC is so loaded that they're just not gonna be relevant. So yeah, it's gonna be Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago.
Detroit.
Detroit's gonna be same old 6-win, 7-win team.
I would really like to see their quarterback on a good team.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure that he's not part of the problem. His numbers are good, but in big games, just like Andy Dalton, he doesn't play well in big games. You know what I mean? So I'm putting that on him also. Like, yeah, he's on Detroit, and it's hard to overcome a bad organization, but he hasn't played well when he needed to either. So I'm not that. I wanted to believe in him for a long time, but now I'm just getting to the point. It's like, all right, you know, he's a good quarterback. He probably would be better if he was somewhere else, but you know, I mean, yeah, I would like to see him somewhere else too, just to see if maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, but I don't know. I lost faith in the fact that he's gonna be better than what he actually is. He's good, but that's just it. He's just good. All
right, let's go to your division. We talked about this a little bit earlier.
The West is always last. The South is next. so we got to go to So let's see, who's gonna win the division? I'm gonna say Atlanta. You know, people got them as favorites to go to the Super Bowl again this year.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Well, they paid. I was say they paid. They didn't pay anybody. Julio Jones was gonna sit out.
Well, they worked it out.
They worked it out.
Yeah,
I saw they worked it out. But he's not happy. He wants to get paid, and their window may be closing because they're not. They've already paid a lot of good players in that team.
Right.
So they're gonna have to do something this year.
Yeah.
They're my pick to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC.
Okay.
I think that they'll beat the Eagles in the AFC in the NFC Championship, and I think they'll go play Houston in the Super Bowl. But yeah, they have a lot of talent on that team. That whole division is filled with talent.
Yeah.
But Tampa, you have a
yeah.
When you got a guy like that as your quarterback, it's going to be really hard for you to.
You're going to have a bad time.
You're going to have a bad time.
You're going to have a bad time.
It has zero to do with his talent.
Yeah.
Because he has talent.
Right.
If he knows how to put it together and, show improve, then they'd be a great team.
Yeah. Yeah. If yeah. So I'm thinking it's going to be Atlanta winning the division. Then I'm gonna say Carolina number 2, because New Orleans never has back-to-back good seasons. So I'm gonna go New Orleans at number 3, and Tampa. And I think New Orleans is gonna compete for playoffs. It could be just like the AFC where the all of the wild cards come out of the South divisions. So just like last year, basically. And But yeah, I think that's what. I think the Giants. Like I said, I think the Giants got a shot at still having one of those wild card spots. So I really don't know. I mean, if you gotta force me to make a prediction, I'm gonna say the Giants are gonna get one of the spots, and Carolina's gonna get the other wild card spot. That's what I'm gonna go with.
I actually think the Saints will get the other wild card spot. I'd love to see the Giants play the Saints in the playoffs again. Again, I think we haven't played them in the playoffs. I love to see the Giants play the Saints, but just don't score as many fucking touchdowns as we did last time. I hate it. I absolutely hate those games. Drew Brees is pretty much at the end of his career. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're a 39-year-old quarterback and short, and you know what I'm saying? Like he's not going to last too much longer. Did they draft a quarterback? I think they did.
The Saints?
Yeah, the Saints.
I believe they did. Yeah, I think you're right. They did draft somebody. I don't remember who they drafted them, but I think they did try to get a replacement for Breeze because isn't he what 39 or 40?
He's 39. Okay, they got Taysom Hill. They got J.T. Barrett from Ohio State. Holy shit!
Oh really? Yeah, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah, they got J.T. Barrett. I thought J.T. Barrett was. I thought he transitioned to playing wide receiver.
I don't even know. I haven't heard anything about him in a while, so I don't even know. I forgot. Like I said, I kind of forgot about the guy. All right, are we done with the NFC South?
Yeah, I don't have much faith in Carolina.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think they're one of those teams that are always around. You know what I mean? Like
they're around early, then they fall apart. And plus, Cam, you see a picture with Cam. He's got fucking furry pink slippers on with his hair out and a bandana on, with a bunch of colorful bracelets. So he gonna 05 first couple games of the season.
Okay. All right. So moving on to the NFC West. I think this is the Rams division, and I think it's going to be kind of easy. I think San Francisco is going to be a number 2, but not enough to make the playoffs. I think they're going to compete for a little while, but in the end,
who's your coach?
They're right. Who's
your coach?
Kyle Shanahan.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think they'll be fun to watch. I think they'll be interesting. But in the end, I think the NFC is just too deep, and they're gonna. I can see them having like a 500 season. I can see them going around 8.
Who your guys?
Yeah, 7-9, 8-8. I can see that.
I don't know.
I'm gonna guess 7-9. That's what I'm gonna go with.
I would give you a couple more wins. I don't know how Jimmy Garoppolo is gonna play this year. You know. he could play a lot better than I'm giving him credit for. I was breaking your balls in the summertime. I was saying he's doing receptions
Yeah.
all in the training camp. But I think that your offense will be actually really good. I think your
Right.
defense is not going to be that good. I think there. I saw Richard Sherman get his ass tore up.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be that good for us. Honestly, I don't. I was like, I don't even know why they hot signing him. I mean, he's a good sign because he's still a good veteran quarterback. You can learn a lot from. But as far as his play, I'm not really that excited about his play anymore.
They have two injuries on this fucking.
His Achilles, both Achilles. One of them he had surgery on. The other one he has some other medical work done on. So I'm not. I think he's done. Like I think he like well, it remains to be seen. But my guess is at that position he's not going to be able to be that good on two Achilles tendons that he had issues with. So. To finish off, I'll go with Seattle third. I don't think they're gonna be that good, and Arizona obviously last. New coach, rookie quarterback. I don't expect nothing from Arizona this year.
I feel so bad for Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah,
Yeah. But like a lot of people are. We had this conversation a few weeks ago when I was in Boston about Larry Fitzgerald
being one of the best. Yeah.
But the funny part is, I saw that people were saying that he's like number 3 all time.
I meant to bring that up earlier. I just started hearing that this week about how great he is and how he's like right there on they're just comparing him to Jerry Rice level. I was like, okay,
they say he's better than Randy Moss.
Yeah, yeah, and it's great like I said, like we were talking about last time, the problem is his team wasn't always good. So it's hard for me to remember how good he is when I don't see him that much. Like when his team was good, he was great. Him and especially when we had Anquan Bolden on the other side, he was great. Like I know he's top, and definitely in that top 10 for sure. But man, I just can't when you tell his numbers up at the end, he's gonna look like one of the greatest top 3 or 4 receivers of all time. So and I'm not gonna argue with anybody who says he's better than those guys. Randy Moss was so dominant though, it's hard. And Terrell Owens was just now granted his hands weren't the greatest, but Terrell Owens was a beast, man. Now Fitzgerald, he's gonna people are gonna want to put him ahead of them because of not only how great he is, but because of how good of a guy he is. Like he's a better guy than both of them put together. So that in a lot of people's mind that means a lot more than others. You know what I mean? So and I do respect that, but I look more at your play than who you are as a person. I just don't care who you are as a person as much. You know what I mean? If you're great, you're great. You know what I mean? And so, I put him right in the mix with those guys. I don't know if I'll say he's better or worse. He's right in the mix with them, and I'll give him that much respect.
Yeah, he's most definitely a Hall of Famer. I feel bad that he played for such shitty teams, but I think now, before it gets too late, we can get to our top
10 quarterbacks. Yes.
quarterbacks. Our time,
right.
Not all time. So you're not going to see a Bart Starr, even though to be honest with you, this right here is the top 10 quarterbacks of all time. I don't give a fuck if Bart Starr.
Yeah,
I don't care about United. I don't care about Joe Namath. If they these guys have way better numbers than those guys. Way better. It's not even close.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Back then when there was running backs all over the place,
right.
right. These quarterbacks do the ball better than those quarterbacks, okay?
Right. And that was the era of running backs, back in the 70s, 80s, even in some of the 90s, but because most of the great running backs was in the 80s and 90s. So, yeah. But now most of the quarterbacks is 90s, 2000s. So even 80s too, but yeah. So all right, you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Okay, I think I'll go first this time.
All right, go ahead.
Do you want to just name our top 10, or just go 10 and you take your 10? And
All right, you go. Yeah, we'll take turns. All right, we'll take turns. 10, 10, 9, 9, like that.
okay, for 10, I got Jim Kelly. Dude went to how many straight Super Bowls? Three or four?
Four, four.
Four straight Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? The dude's fighting for his life. He had cancer, and he's surviving it. Good luck for him. Jim Kelly was like the best quarterback of the '90s. I mean, he has no Super Bowls to prove it, but you know he was one of the best quarterbacks of the '90s. You know what I'm saying? He was a great quarterback. Who do you have?
First of all, I had him at number 11, but this is a top 10. So at number 10, I got Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees, especially for his size, was a absolute monster. Like now, I don't think he was always consistent. He's doing some bad interceptions in his time, and his teams haven't always been consistent either. Like his teams have been up and down, but he's definitely, when it's all said and done, as far as yards and touchdowns, going to be in the top 5 and statistically. But I think I put him at my number 10.
All right, so that's how I have my number 9, Drew Brees. Drew Brees is this dude. He just came through a lot. He had a lot of shit thrown at him, especially early in his career when he got drafted to San Diego, and he was out there with LaDainian Thomas. And I think that if he was still out there, I think they have a little bit of hardware, at least one,
Okay.
maybe. But you know, like he had those years where he just throws a ball for like almost 6,000 goddamn yards.
Yeah.
The dude just keeps throwing the ball. Like you know, in that offense in New Orleans is just padding on him. They don't run the ball at all.
Right.
They throw the ball like 3 times a game. So.
Right. They just flung it. All right. My number 9 is Big Ben Roethlisberger. I think he's one of the toughest quarterbacks out there. He's not the toughest quarterback on this list though, but he's one of the toughest guys out there. And I thought we was talking about quarterbacks that came in with a bang. He was one of those quarterbacks that actually came in. He won 10 in a row as a rookie. So he's one of those guys that we didn't even mention before. So he's one of those guys from his rookie year to now has been great. He's won what? How many did he win? 2 Super Bowls. He won 2 Super Bowls, right? And he's Big Ben. You know, he's like I said, he's tough. He's big, he's one of the bigger, solid quarterbacks. He's a monster. So that's all I got to say about Big Ben.
Okay, my number 8 is gonna probably piss you off is Steve Young. Steve Young, he didn't play for that long. You know, he has a Super Bowl on his own, one on his own, right?
Right.
So I have to put him down a little bit lower in the list, even though he was really fun to watch, especially throwing lefty and running the ball. Until we got like other quarterbacks who on this list who are way better at that than he is. But he played in that era where you had to fling the ball in the West Coast offense, and he actually did really well. So Steve Young is my number 8.
Okay. My number 8 is Brett Favre. So Brett Favre, I mean, like it's not much you can say, but outside of the fact, he's got all the records. Just about, well, at one point he had almost all the records, including the interception record. But that's what to
still
me,
has that,
and that's why to me he's so low in my top 10 because he's throwing so many interceptions. It's one thing to just have interceptions, but it's another thing to be the all-time leader in interceptions. Like so he's up there. I mean, he's great. He's won. How many MVPs did he win? 2.
Yeah, he won 2.
Okay, he's won a couple MVPs.
No, he's won 3.
Won 3, right? I think he won 3. Yeah. So for somebody who won 3 MVPs, they probably should be higher on this list when you think about it. But
he's a gunslinger.
Yeah, he's a gunslinger, and he did win 1 championship. He won 1, lost 1. So there's a lot of guys on this list that have won more or as many as him. There's a couple guys on this list that has one less than him. So, all right. So we'll go. All right. So number 7. Who's your number 7?
My number 7 is Brett Favre.
Okay. We're not that far off so far.
Yeah, we're not too far, Brett. Like just for the things that we just mentioned, he throws a lot of interceptions, but I put him higher on this list than Steve Young because he played for so long, and he in that Minnesota run, brought him over the top because he brought that team and went to the playoffs with a team that he was damn near 40.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I respect
he's number
that.
7 on my list. So who's number 6 on yours?
No, number 7, you mean? Because you went first. So I'm number 7. My number 7 is Aaron Rodgers. So I got Aaron Rodgers right above Brett Favre. He was way more accurate quarterback, and he, and he's a good scrambler. Um, but in the end, he still only has one ring like Favre. So it's like and his career, but his career is not over. So he could actually move up on this list by the end of it. Some say he's the best quarterback in the league now, currently. And I say he's at least number 2. I'm still going to give Brady that edge because Brady's still going to the championship every year. So, but a lot of people think he's better. They say he's more talented or whatever. He can scramble, he can run, but he's number 7 on my list. Who's your number 6? We're at now.
Okay, number 6, I have Kurt Warner. The reason I put Kurt Warner on this list is because he was the reason they won that Super Bowl. Would the Rams win that Super Bowl?
Okay.
I know they had a lot of talent on that team, but they don't win this Super Bowl without Kurt Warner.
If Trent Green doesn't get hurt, they have 0 Super Bowls.
Yeah, there's no Super Bowls at all. None.
Right, I agree.
Doesn't matter how. Doesn't matter. They're not the best show on turf. They're nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And he got Arizona to the Super Bowl.
Yes, he deserves a lot of credit.
And he got Arizona to the Super Bowl, and he won the Super Bowl too because Priest Holmes did not catch that ball in the back.
Santonio Holmes, right? Yeah, I agree. I agree.
He didn't catch that ball. He didn't.
His foot
went down.
One of his feet were off the ground when he made that stretch for that touchdown. But
yes,
I agree.
Yes.
I was wondering who's on this list that I didn't, because I was looking like, all right, so if he's got Jim Kelly and I didn't, so who's gonna be the other guy he has? So I was trying to figure out. Okay, it was Kurt Warner. So I'm number 6. That's why I have Steve Young. So I have him over Favre. I'm a little biased because I'm a 49er fan, but I thought Steve Young was a way more accurate quarterback than Brett Favre. Like Brett Favre was accurate, but he made a lot of dumb mistakes. Steve Young is one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. So I give him that. And he was playing behind Montana for a long time, so he didn't get a chance to start when he really should have been starting because he was playing against the current, at that time, the greatest quarterback of all time. So I don't. He technically should lose points but I personally because of, like I said, I'm a little biased. I didn't want him to lose points because of that. I saw how great he was, and I'm so big on Steve Young. There were times where I actually was thinking he might be better than Joe Montana. that's how high I was Steve Young. Like, cause the heart of my football time watching was when Steve Young took over. Like I was a Joe Montana fan, but I wasn't as big of a football fan until around the time Steve Young became a starter. So I'm more closer to Steve Young than I am to Joe Montana. So I give Steve Young that respect.
Yeah. All right. For my number 5, it's Aaron Rodgers. I think he's one of the most talented quarterbacks to ever play the game. I ranked him so low. I would have ranked him top 3 of all time. Other than the fact that he doesn't really have any more Super Bowls, and the fact that he pads his stats, and I notice it.
You think he pads his stats?
Yes,
I notice. Really?
I think that Aaron Rodgers, when he's outside the pocket, he's not going to throw the ball away. He'll just run, and or he'll get the easy dump off pass, even though it means nothing.
Yeah, okay. I don't look at that as padding stats. I look at that as just trying to make something happen.
Like a lot of times, he'd rather take the sack too.
Yeah, I just think but I don't look at it. I don't look at that as Patton's stats, though. I mean, you know,
but he does it. He does it so consistently. It's kind of like, okay, he I think he's doing it purposely. And I've been thinking about this for the last 4 seasons.
But you got to remember who he learned under. he was understudy of Brett Favre, so I think he has a little bit of that in him. He just doesn't throw bad picks, but he has a little bit of gunslinger in him. So I think that's all it is. But he's just a more controlled gunslinger because he's also one of the most accurate quarterbacks of all time. Also, you know what I mean?
That's the reason why. Like he would much rather just take the sack than throw it away and get
you say he takes the sack? I thought you said he doesn't take the sack.
Yeah, he takes the sack.
I see. Okay, I get that then. Okay, I misunderstood what you said. All right. So my number 5 is Dan Marino. Now Dan Marino is so great that I put him over guys.
Holy fuck!
Because
he's on the list.
When you said when you said Aaron Rodgers, I was like, wait a minute. I'm looking at my list. I'm like, there's somebody missing off his list that should be here.
Yo, I totally forgot about
it. So I guess Jim Kelly gets bumped off your list too, then. Yeah, he does. Dan Marino definitely. I mean, Dan Marino was like, again, what are those? Another guy who just like his passes, he threw a bullet, like his bullet pass. Even on like Tech Bowl, like everybody's passes would go high, his would be bullets. Like they even made his pass just how it is on Tech Bowl back then. Like he could throw the fucking football. Like he was a beast. Like he reminds me of like what, like, you know, how Peyton Manning also, like he reminds me of Peyton Manning a lot in terms of, I mean, he throws a better ball than Peyton Manning though. Like Peyton Manning throws a wobbly football, but
Peyton Manning never threw a good spiral.
Right, but he just gets it. But he gets it there. He like Dan Marino fucking just zips it in there. So Dan Marino's my number 5. All right, who's your number 4?
My number 4 is John Elway.
Okay.
So John Elway, he was always a great quarterback. Got to the Super Bowl a few times. I think he got to the Super Bowl 4 times. I think he lost to you, and he lost to the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he lost to the Giants, but then he won 2.
Right.
You know, you don't get to 4 Super Bowls would not be great.
Right.
He won 2 in a row, which, you know, not many guys do. You know, only Aikman, Brady, and him, I think.
Montana.
Yeah, Montana won 2 in a row.
Yeah. He beat Cincinnati and Denver back to back, I believe, because they were gonna go for a 3-peat and they lost, I think, to y'all.
Yeah.
I think that's how that worked out. But okay, so
when it comes to his throws, like another thing about John Elway is just like he was just clutch too.
Yeah,
like, he was clutch as hell. Like if you were down the game, you get John Elway in there, he'll bring you back in the game and just win the fucking game.
Right, doesn't matter it doesn't matter how many points you're down. Like the game's never over with John Elway. And his teams were never that great. Like he had a couple, like you said, he been to the Super Bowl 4 times, so I can't say they haven't been good. But there were a lot of down times in between his 2 Super Bowl losses and his 2 Super Bowl wins. So yeah, he had a lot of. Well, I don't want to talk about too much about him because I didn't get to him yet. But all right. So my number 4. My number 4 is Peyton Manning. I got Peyton Manning at number 4. I think he wasn't. I think during the regular season he had some clutch performances and he looked great. He looked like one of the greatest quarterbacks ever at times. But in the playoffs, there were times where he just did not look clutch at all. Like the Seattle Super Bowl, he looked bad. The Saints Super Bowl, he threw an interception at the end of the game, and then there was a couple times we lost to San Diego, where they were the better team. They were supposed to be the better team, and San Diego beat them. So like it's one thing if a team like the Patriots owned you, which in the end they ended up not really owning him, but like when a team like San Diego kind of owns you in the playoffs, it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like San Diego's a team that never wins anything, but they own Peyton Manning in the playoffs. So I think you lose points for that. But he was still one of the best, probably one of the smartest, if not the smartest quarterback of all time. Like he's definitely one of the smartest quarterbacks of all time. Okay, number 3.
My number 3 is Joe Montana.
Okay.
Yeah. My number 3 is Joe Montana. All right. Joe Montana is a great quarterback. Great clutch quarterback. Has those moments that you would see on in classic sports. Him throwing the ball. Some guy catching. I don't know the guy's name. Catching the backfield. And he goes, "Hey, touchdown! Ah, yeah, great!" And it's just like, okay, Joe Montana was a great quarterback. The reason I have him at 3 is because it's not his fault. He just had such a great fucking team around him.
He definitely did.
But I just have to put him there because he had just a great fucking team around him. That's not his fault.
He did. He had his team was loaded. I can't even lie about that. 49ers were loaded.
He had such a great coach, too, who changed the game and offensively.
Was considered one of the top 3 coaches
of all
offense.
time. That's why I put Joe Montana there. Who's your number 3?
I got John Elway at number 3. I think John Elway, because of his clutchness and like I said, he had what I was saying before is he had a lot of downtime in between his 2 losses and his 2 wins. But in between that time, that's because his team wasn't that good. But he was still excellent. Like he still was carrying his team to some crazy wins. He never until he got Terrell Davis, he went a long time without having a running game. Finally got a running game, and then he went just like that, wins the Super Bowl. Like and who's to say he would have been the first team to three-peat had he not stuck around for a 3rd season? You know what I mean? I wanted to see them. I wanted to see them three-peat. To be honest, I wanted to see it. So, but
okay, in 2000, who they would have played against? They would have played the Ravens
against the Giants. And if they'd beat the Ravens, they'd have played against that Giants team, that overachieving Giants team.
Well, number one, I don't think they would have beat the Ravens team with Ray Lewis. I think that's one. We talk about teams in a minute, but that team, that 2000 Ravens team was a fucking monster.
Historically, one of the best defensive teams ever. Yeah, them and put them up with the Pittsburgh Steel Curtain and the '85 Bears. They're like right there. They're like that's it. Like those are the top defenses ever, right there. Those 3. So yeah.
If anybody gets past them, it may be John Elway. So
say it again.
If anybody gets past them, it's John Elway.
Yeah, I could see Denver I could see Denver beating them, but that defense was really damn dominant like that year. So I don't know.
And then Denver beating the living shit out of us.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So number
2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's only. I don't know who you have as number 2, but I got Peyton Manning at number 2. Okay. Peyton Manning is a fucking robot. He was always one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. Like I could watch a Peyton Manning game. I could watch him take apart a defense every game. I could watch him look at something. Idaho. I watch him do that all day. You know what I'm saying? When it just came to quarterback mechanics and doing the right things for somebody who just wasn't naturally talented at throwing the football.
He was smart as shit.
He definitely overachieved. You know what I'm saying? And he learned a lot. You know, his head's the size of a fucking grapefruit. So, you know what I'm saying? His fucking head's big as hell. And that may be from other things, but, you know, I'm not going to accuse the man of doing things like that. I just said a rumor innuendo. So, yeah, like Peyton. And plus he has those 2 Super Bowls. What's his Super Bowl at the end with Denver?
Yeah, that second one definitely helped him out. If it wasn't for that second one, I think he would have been like my number 6 or 5 or 6. I got him at 4, but I probably would have kept Marino over him had he not won the second one.
The dude has 5 MVPs. You know, like you know what I'm saying? He has 5 fucking MVPs in the record for most yards and most touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you talk about being efficient. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He never did. You know what I'm saying? Like, to his last season, to his final season.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't count.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he was one of the. He has three of his MVP seasons. He has like a perfect quarterback rating for the entire season. You know what I'm saying? Like, he, as far as seasons go, like, dude is unstoppable during the season. But but like during the playoffs, it's like sometimes
yeah.
He doesn't do the same thing, and that's what everyone knocks him for, because he's kind of pedestrian in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl.
Right,
so,
and that's why
I don't blame him.
Right, that's where he lost points with me. So, my number 2 is Joe Montana. Like, what do you mean you don't know who I got at number 2? Like, I got Joe Montana. And he won 4 Super Bowls. He's a 49er. He was considered the greatest for a very long time. He did have a loaded team, but he took full advantage of that loaded team. He was great. He was clutch. He was clutch like John Elway. He was always, they called him Joe Cool because he was cool as hell. Like and he kept it calm in those situations. So Joe Montana is my number 2. So I think we both got the same number 1. So go ahead.
Oh, my number 1 is Thomas Edward Brady.
Okay.
Right? Tom Brady. We can go back to Michigan, since I'm a Michigan fan. We can go back to when he won our only national championship in '97. Okay, so he's won on both levels. He didn't really get much burn in college because they were going back and forth with that Lloyd Carr offense or whatever. But you don't care about college. In the NFL, it was just a match made in heaven with him and Bill Belichick. And the fact that he's winning MVPs and winning Super Bowls at damn near 40, and now he's 40 winning MVPs.
Yeah, I was gonna say damn near 41.
Yeah, and going to the Super Bowl. Yeah. There's no one I could put above him as far as quarterbacks go. I remember a few years ago, but now you just can't. There's no one you can put above him.
Yeah, he's won too many. He's been to too many. It's just like you can't get around it. By the way, he's also my number 1. So we're just gonna talk about Tom Brady now. He's been to what, 8 or 7? he's won 5 and been to 8, right? Because he lost 3, right? He's been to 8 Super Bowls. He's been to more than anybody's ever won. Like,
there's some franchises. He's been to more Super Bowl than some franchises. We could probably pick 10 franchises put together, and he's been to more. He's been to more Super Bowls. He'd probably been to more Super Bowls than. No, I'm not gonna say Pittsburgh because they got 6 rings.
I think they've been to. I think he's been to as many as Pittsburgh. I think they've been to like 8.
Yeah, they lost twice or something like that.
They lost to Dallas, I believe, and they lost to Dallas twice, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah. They lost to Green Bay. So they lost to Dallas twice, once back in the day and once in the 90s, and then I think they lost to Green Bay. I think that's how that went. Or did they lose back in the day? Maybe not. Whatever, not important. But anyway,
it's not important. But yeah, for a long time, since we watched Tom Brady win his first Super Bowl. Matter of fact, I think I watched his first Super Bowl in your fucking house. I might have watched like when he beat the Rams. When they came from behind and beat the fucking Rams in the Super Bowl. I think I was at your house.
That was a good game. That was a good Super Bowl.
That was a really good game.
Yeah, that was the start of so many good Super Bowls we've had. Really, like we've had a lot of good Super Bowls since that moment. Like.
Think about the last. Well, I can't say when the last time we had a blowout. The fucking what you call the Broncos.
The Seattle one. That's about the only one we've had in the past 15 years. Most of them have been good.
Most of it been good. Like there's been times where you're like, oh, this Super Bowl sucked, but then it turned last year.
Right.
Last year.
Every Patriots Super Bowl has been close. Every one. So that's 8 right there. And then you throw in what? You throw in the Denver one kind of got out of control, but it wasn't that close. It wasn't a blowout, but it wasn't that close at the end, was it? Oh no, it was close. It was one possession game. Yeah, it was close. Okay, so you can throw that one in there. Yeah, I could. The only one I could.
It was actually that it wasn't that good of a game.
It wasn't a good game. It was not a good game.
It was because like there was no like really good play.
No drama.
It was kind of like they weren't playing a fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was almost like a Thursday night game. The only 2 blowouts I could think of is that's the Denver, Seattle, and the Baltimore Giants. The rest of them I can't think of any like since the 2000s. I can't think of any other blowouts. There might have been one somewhere in between, but I can't think of any. All right, so let's wrap this up. All right, I got one trivia question for you. How many Heisman winners have won MVPs of Super Bowls?
I know it's Charles Woodson.
Okay.
Did he?
No, he didn't win MVP of the Super Bowl though.
I don't think there are any.
And by the way, I don't have the names of the players. I just have the number. So
how about 0?
No. You give up?
2.
Nope.
All right, I give up.
It was 4. But I should have looked up the names, but it's 4 Heisman winners that have won MVPs of Super Bowls. So I definitely want to find out who that was. But we need to wrap this up. We are at 1 hour and 24 minutes. This is probably our longest podcast yet. So even when I break this up into 2 halves on YouTube, it's going to be long. So
Jim Plunkett, Desmond Howard. I don't know who else. All right, let's wrap this up.
All right, y'all. We will see that. We didn't even get to the KD and McCollum thing, but we'll try to talk about that next week, I guess. Yeah, it's not that important. Yeah, it's all football. So, all right, y'all. We'll catch y'all next week.
All right.